So good morning students, let's start with the module 2. I have already given you the basic idea of what module 2 is. It is going to deal with multiple random variables. Specifically, we are going to deal with bivariate random variables. So as you can see on the screen, I've written bivariate random variables. So we'll be dealing with two random variables at the same time. That will be x and y. Right? You can also have other nomenclatures like u, v, w, x. It doesn't matter, but we'll be dealing with x and y, right? And for each of these random variables, we will be finding the values. So let's say xi and yi, right? Where I will go from minus infinity to plus infinity, right? And these x will be the values for the random variables, right? So we'll be finding the values like this. You'll have xy, the values xi comma yi, right? And this I will go from let's say 1 to all the way till n, because we want to deal only with positive values, right? So this is a case of multiple random variables, but instead of directly going into multiple random variables, we'll do a bivariate random variable, and then the same logic can be applied to 3, 4, 5, and so on random variables, right? So I had already done this in the basic class last time. So if we take a single random variable, right? So its CDF is fx of x, which is a probability of x less than or equal to x, right? So with the same logic, now if we consider bivariate random variables, so let's say if we consider bivariate random variables, right? So we're going to have fxy of x comma y, right? That will be the nomenclature for the two random variables. So we have x and y, right? So this will be nothing but probability, or let me write this here because it's a long equation. This will be x, probability of x less than equal to x, right? Intersection y less than equal to y. This means whatever is common between x and y, that is going to be taken into consideration, right? So intersection would mean whatever is common, right? Anything which is not common is not going to be taken, right? So if we just extend this to a multivariate, random variable. By multivariate, I mean 3, 4, 5 or n number. Then we can write this as f x1, x2 till xn, the values x1 comma x2 all the way till xn, and the PDF will now be probability x1 less than x, intersection x2 less than x, intersection all the way till xn less than xn, right? So we can just extend this idea to a multivariate random variables as well, right? But we are not going to do that. We'll restrict ourselves only to bivariate case, that is two random variables, and this is going to be a very important case for us, because here we are very much interested in the property known as correlation. Correlation, that is, how is x and y correlated with each other, right? So this correlation can be positive, it can be negative, or it can be zero, right? So finding the correlation is very important and very significant, because it helps us in finding the connection, physical connection between the two random variables, that is x and y, right? So this has major applications, and we want to look at these major applications as well, right? So that is the idea here. We'll restrict ourselves to the application part, okay, because that we'll do in the higher semesters. But here we are interested in finding or solving the numericals, based on bivariate random variables. Okay. So likewise, how I have defined the CDF, we can also define the PDF, which we'll be doing very, very soon, right? So let us take some special cases, of bivariate random variable, right? So like I've been doing since the start, I'll give you the theoretical part, or the part which is required to solve the numericals, and then we'll start solving the numericals, so that will give you more clarity. Okay? So for the special case, the first one, if we have event, if we have the event x less than equal to minus infinity, right? This is an impossible event, right? Because there is nothing less than infinity, negative infinity, right? So if we have an event like this, therefore what is going to happen is fxy of x comma y will become fxy of minus infinity comma y, right? Because x is less than or equal to negative infinity. Therefore, this can be written as probability of x less than equal to negative infinity intersection y less than equal to y. So you can see instead of x, I have just put in the value negative infinity. Now this is an impossible event, right? So this part here is impossible. That means it's a null event, right? Therefore, this entire factor becomes a null event. Therefore, as a special case, fxy of negative infinity comma y is a null event. So this is one of the properties, if you want to call it, of a bivariate random variable, right? So instead of 5, I'm just going to write it as 0, right? It's a null event. So similarly, with the same logic, fxy of x comma minus infinity is also going to be 0. That is when y is having a value less than or equal to minus infinity, right? So that is also going to be 0, right? Similarly, if both x and y are also minus infinity, so if I have fxy of minus infinity comma minus infinity, that also is going to be 0, because both the events are going to be null events, right? So these three in the bracket in the box are very important properties, because these will help us in solving some numericals. Usually we will not encounter numericals which will require this property, because we do not want to deal with null events. Okay, but it is important, so I'm just going to put a star here. So when x and y have negative infinity values, the cdf is going to be 0. When both of them also have negative infinity value, that cdf is also going to be 0, right? So in many books and internet sources, they put this as different properties. So 3 boxes will give you 3 properties, but I have just shown you as one of the properties, right? So now let us take the second property. When you have an event, x less than equal to infinity, right? The last property which we did, in that x was negative infinity, here x is infinity, right? So in this case, we can write the cdf as fxy of x comma y, where x is infinity and you have y, right? Therefore this I can write as probability x less than equal to infinity intersection y less than equal to y, right? Now, f that is x less than or equal to infinity, this part here basically implies the entire sample space. Entire sample space. That is all the experiments, right? Therefore, I can write this fxy of infinity comma y as nothing but probability entire sample space. So I'm going to write this as sample space intersection y less than equal to y, and sample space intersection of anything is nothing but that particular value, right? So fxy of infinity comma y. So you have the entire, if I draw a diagram, you have the entire sample space, and here you have y. So an intersection of s with y will just be this part y here, right? Therefore, what we'll get out of here is nothing but probability of y less than equal to y, right? Therefore, fxy of infinity comma y is just going to be the cdf fy of y, right? I hope this idea was clear. You don't need the explanation from an exam point of view, but in general, to understand why this is happening is very important. So that diagram makes it clear, right? So we take an intersection of sample space with a particular value of experiments y. So therefore, the intersection will just be that y, right? So if x becomes infinity, right? If x event is an infinity, what we get from bivariate random variable is just the other CDF, that is y, right? So this is also an important property. This property will be used a lot. Okay. Similarly, fxy of x comma infinity, it's very easy to understand, will be nothing but fx of x. So when y is an event infinity, then its intersection with the sample space is just going to give us x, which is the value, right? So these two are very, very important properties. Again, in many books, these properties will be given as separate properties. I've just given you as a single property, right? So overall, we have done 5 properties, but I have only written them in format of 2. Okay. And then we have a third property, right? If you have x less than equal to infinity and y less than or equal to infinity, so both are infinity, then what is going to happen? You are going to get fxy of x comma y as probability x less than equal to infinity intersection y less than equal to infinity, right? And this is nothing but the sample space. So you'll have a sample space intersection with the sample space, right? And sample space with an intersection of the sample space is nothing but the sample space itself, right? Therefore, and what is going to be the probability of the entire sample space? Anybody? If you have a sample space, what will be the probability of the entire sample space?
1.
1, right, you're right. So if you have a sample space here, right, the entire probability in this sample space, the probability is 1, right? Therefore, fxy of infinity comma infinity is going to be 1, right? So the final value of both x and y is going to be 1, right? So this is nothing new. This we had done in single random variables, where the final value of one random variable, that is fx of x, was also 1, right? The final CDF what you get is always going to be 1, right? So we are going to be using these properties a lot of these are the properties of the CDF. So you would be very comfortable with these properties because you already know about the single random variables. So this is just an extension of the single random variable, right? Okay. So next, let's do the PDF. Okay, we'll do the PDF and then we'll jump towards solving the problems. Okay. So then it will give us a better idea of what kind of problems we encounter in the exam and in general as well, right? So we have seen in the single random variables that the PDF is a very important property. In comparison with CDF, the PDF is much more helpful in solving the numericals, right? Of course, you can also always use the CDF as well, but in general, in the numericals, we have always used the PDF, right? So how do we define the PDF? It is nothing but the derivative of the CDF, right? So if you recollect, if we have to find fx of x, it is nothing but d by dx of fx of x, right? So the PDF is the derivative of the CDF, right? So if we extend this to the bivariate random variables, we'll have fxy of x comma y, and now instead of one derivative, that is the first order derivative, we will have a second order derivative. So d square by dx dy, because you'll have to find the derivative with respect to x and then y. So you'll have fxy of x comma y, right? So you can see here there's no difference. It's just an extension, right? So the factor on the left hand side, that is this fxy of xy, this is known as the bivariate PDF. Bivariate PDF, right? A property of the PDF which we have already seen in single random variables is that fx of x is always greater than or equal to 0. So therefore, extending this to bivariate PDFs, fxy of x comma y is always going to be greater than or equal to 0, which implies that PDF is non-negative, right? So therefore, x will be less than equal to infinity and y will be less than or equal to infinity, right? So this is an important property of the PDF, right? The other important property which we have seen is how to find the the CDF from the PDFs, right? So if you have to find the CDF from the PDF, you'll have to find the integral, right? So just to recollect, if I have to find fx of x from the PDF, then it will be minus to plus infinity, or rather minus to plus minus infinity to some x, fx of x dx, right? So if I do this as minus 2 plus infinity, this value will be 1 because it's total sample space. But if I want to find till a particular point, it will be minus infinity to some point x, right? So extending this, if you have to find fxy of x comma y, now instead of first order integral, we are not going now going to have a double integral, second order integral. So you'll have minus infinity to x, negative infinity to some y, and then you'll have fxy of x comma y dx dy, right? So you can see it's just an extension, right? So we are going to from a point x in the first integral, and then we are going to a point y in the second integral, right? So you'll have to integrate with respect to x and y. So it is just an extension. So you can see if you have 3, 4, or 5 random variables, you'll have to integrate those many number of times, right? So this is one of the properties. The other one, the next property is very, very important and very, very simple to understand. If you have fx of infinity, then you can find this as negative to positive infinity fx of x dx, and this value is 1. That is the total area under the PDF is always going to be 1. So extending this to a bivariate case, you'll have negative infinity to positive infinity for x, negative to positive infinity for y, and you'll have fxy of x comma y dx dy is equal to 1. That is the total volume under a bivariate PDF is always going to be 1. This is a very, very important property, and we are always going to be using this property in the numericals. Okay. So please understand this, right? So this is easy to understand. It is the complete sample space, right? And the area under that sample space is just going to be 1. The total probability is going to be 1. Okay, important property. Okay, so I'll put this in a bracket and mark it with a star, so it will be available in the recording as well. Okay. Okay, so I think we've done most of the properties which are required for finding the or solving the numericals. So before we go ahead, of course, if you recollect the parts which we have done in the PDF and CDF for single random variables, you will recollect that the next part will be finding the mean value, the expectation, the variance, and so on, right? So that let's do it a little later. First, let us try to solve numericals based on PDF and CDF. Okay. So this is the first numerical for the day. So let's see. Okay. So the question is the joint PDF fxy of x comma y equal to c is a constant when x is between 0 and 3 and y is between 0 and 3, right? And is 0 otherwise, right? So we need to find multiple values, so I'll write them as 0.1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I hope you are sitting with a pen and paper so to note down the question. Okay. I'll ensure that the question is visible on the screen with the points that we need to find. Okay. So what we need to find is, the first part is value of c, Second part, PDF of x and y. Third part, fxy of x comma y, right? Given those values of x and y, right? Or those ranges of x and y. Fourth, fxy of x comma infinity and fxy of infinity comma y. And the fifth one are x and y independent. Are x and y independent? Okay. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to get started, okay? Because uh, the the four parts you can already do. The fifth part is something where you need an explanation, right? So get started, try to solve. I'll give you a couple of minutes, okay? Okay, so I hope you are able to solve. So I hope you have already started. So okay, just before I start the solution, am I audible? Anyone? Can anyone confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I've scrolled down and you must have the question with you already, right? So I don't know how you have proceeded, but I always do write the words in terms of mathematics, so I get a lot of clarity, right? So what we are given is we are given a PDF fxy of x comma y, which is equal to c, and it is a constant between a particular range of x and y, and it is equal to 0 otherwise, right? So for clarity, I'll write this PDF fxy of x comma y as constant c when x is between 0 and 3 and y is between 0 and 3 and 0 otherwise. right? So I don't know, but this gives me a lot of clarity in what exactly I'm trying to find here, right? So the first question is I need to find the value of C, and I know that minus to plus infinity of fxy of x comma y dx dy is equal to 1, right? So using that property, now you can see that we are not dealing from minus to plus infinity, we are rather dealing from 0 to 3 for both x and y. So you'll have 0 to 3 for x, 0 to 3 for y, and fxy of x comma y in that range is c, and you have dx dy, and this value will be equal to 1, right? So after integrating this, you should be able to find the value of c, right? So you can see that this just turns out to be a double integral, right? It has nothing to do with the random variables anymore except that property, right? So I'll take the c constant. Now you'll have to integrate with respect to dx, put in the value, then integrate with respect to dy, put in the value, right? So when you have integral dx, you'll get x from 0 to 3. Integral dy, you'll get y from 0 to 3, and that value is 1, which implies you'll have c into 3 minus 0, and 3 minus 0 equal to 1. Therefore, c is 1 by 9. C is 1 by 9, right? So writing the PDF again, fxy of x comma y. Now I'll put in the value of c, which is 1 by 9, and this 1 by 9 value is between, for x between 0 and 3, for y between 0 and 3, and it is 0 otherwise. Right? I hope this was clear. Right? Is anyone else getting this value? I think there's not much to check there. Right? Okay. Next part. In the next part, we need to find the PDFs of X and Y, right? So what we are given is a combined PDF, a bivariate PDF, but we need to find the individual PDFs. Okay, please understand this. So what we are given, so I'll make it clear here. We are given fxy of x comma y. What we need to find is fx of x and fy of y. That is the question, the second part, right? And we know that, to find fx of x, I need to find the derivative of the CDF, fx of x, right? And I can write this fx of x as, okay, please pay attention, this is the most important point. I can write this as d by dx fxy of x comma infinity, right? Because I know that fy of infinity will be the entire sample space, and when I intersect that or take an intersection with x, it is just going to give me x, right? So therefore, using that logic, now I will take fx of x, right, and integrate this from minus to plus infinity fxy of x comma y dy, right? That is the original formula. In this case, I can write this as fx of x equal to the value of x and y go from 0 to 3. So I'll have 0 to 3. C is 1 by 9, which we have found, of dy. Of dy. Because I need to find x here, right? So you'll have 1 by 9 integral 0 to 3 dy. So you'll have 1 by 9, y going from 0 to 3, so it will just be 3. Therefore, you will get 1 by 3, right? Therefore, fx of x will be 1 by 3 for x between 0 and 3. It will be 0 otherwise. It will be 0 otherwise. Now, looking at this, I don't know if you have got the value. Looking at this, can you find the value of fy of y? Anybody? Let me know what value of fy of y you get.
1 by 3.
Follow this. Sorry. So you'll have to follow the same procedure, right? And in this case, not worry about the limits because they are the same for x and y, right? So fy of y, I can have this as d by dy, fxy of infinity comma y, right? Therefore, fy of y will be an integral from minus infinity to plus infinity fxy of x comma y dx dy. That is the general equation. In this case, it will be fy of y going from 0 to 3 and c is 1 by 9 of dx. So you'll get 1 by 9 into 3, therefore you'll get 1 by 3, right? So fy of y also has the same structure, if you want to call it, as fx of x. So it'll be 1 by 3 for 0 less than y less than 3, and it will be 0 for any other value. So I'll just write else. Right? I hope this was clear. Any questions on this? This is a very common question, okay? So please be really comfortable with this. Okay. So in the first part, we have to just find a single random variable. So this is like finding single random variable from multiple random variables, right? So from fxy of xy, we have found fx of x, and then from fxy of xy, we have found fy of y. Okay. Okay. Next comes the third part. So in the third part, you must have the question with you. I'll just quickly write it mathematically. We need to find fxy of x comma y, and we are given the range of x and y, right? So we know that we can find the CDF by integrating the PDF. That means we can find it as minus infinity to some value x minus infinity to some value y of fxy of x comma y dx dy. Right? Now, you can see what is the range given for x and y, right? So we have 0 less than x less than 3, and we have 0 less than y less than 3. Right? These are the ranges given for x and y, right? So if I want to find fxy of x comma y, right, the minimum value that we have for both x and y is 0, and the final value that we have for both is 3, right? However, please remember, CDF is not a constant value. It should be in the terms of x and y. Therefore, higher limit should not be put as 3. It should be put as some general x and some general y. Therefore, the first integral for x will start at 0 and end at some point x. This x can be 3, can be 2, can be 1, can be 0. We do not know, right? And then similarly for y, you'll have 0 to y, right? And fxy of x comma y, we have already found the value of c, which is 1 by 9, which is 1 by 9. Therefore, we will have dx dy, right? So this value is of c here. So you'll have dx dy, right? So once you integrate this, you'll have 1 by 9 x into y, right? Now you can put any value of x and y. You can put 1, you can put 2, or you can put 3. So once you put 3, right, what will happen? You'll have 3 into 3, which is 9. 9 divided by 9 will be 1. So when you put the value of x and y as 3, right, when this is 3 and this is also 3, it will basically imply that you are finding the value of fxy of infinity comma infinity, which value is going to be 1, right? But we are not doing that. We are only finding the general equation for the CDF. Therefore, the CDF in this case, fxy of x comma y, has a value xy by 9 for x between 0 and 3, for y between 0 and 3, and 0 else, that is otherwise. Right? I hope this was also clear. Okay. Let's see what is the next part that we need to find. Okay, you must have the question with you. So in the next part, what are fxy of x comma infinity and fxy of infinity comma y, right? So we need to find those values, right? So in the fourth part, we need to find fxy of x comma infinity and fxy of infinity comma y. We need to find these values, right? So to find fxy of x comma infinity, we can take the PDF, that is fxy of x comma y dx dy, and integrate it. So you'll integrate this from minus infinity to x. For y, you will integrate this from minus infinity to plus infinity, because it is given that y's final value is infinity. Y's final value is infinity, right? So that is the general equation. If I now write the equation for this given case, you'll have minus infinity to x, right? For the given case, y goes from 0 to 3. Therefore, I'll replace minus infinity by 0, minimum value, and I will replace the final value, that is plus infinity, as 3, right? And you will have fxy of x comma y dx dy, right? So now placing this equation, you'll have minus infinity to x, 0 to 3, 1 by 9 dx dy, right? 1 by 9 is a constant. Dx integral will be x, so you'll have x going from minus infinity to x, and you'll have y, which is 0 to 3, so you'll get 3, right? So x will be just the value x, therefore you will get 3 by 9 into x, which is x by 3, right? So therefore the value of fxy of x comma infinity will be x by 3 for 0 less than x less than 3. So I'll leave this part up with you on the screen. Okay, you please let me know what is the value, the other value. The other value which we need to find is, I'll write it in the left hand side, fxy of infinity comma y. Let me know what value. Let me know what answer you get for that. Anybody? What answer do you get? Hmm. What do you get? Okay, so if you follow the similar process, you'll end up with y by 3 for 0 less than y less than 3. Okay, so I'll write this down there after the second value. So if you want to find, if you find properly fxy of infinity comma y, you'll end up with y by 3 for 0 less than y less than 3. Okay, so you will see a trend here. Okay, I don't know if you have noticed, but this will be very helpful in matching your answer or checking your answer. So see, whenever we are finding fxy of infinity comma y, you will see that the answer that you get is only y by 3. It is in terms of y. Whenever you find fxy of x comma infinity, you will see that the answer is always in terms of x, right? The other thing Similarly, if I scroll up and show you the third, value which we have found, you will see that when you are finding fy of y, just a single random variable, it is only with respect to y. And when you are finding fx of x, it is only with respect to x. So that is like a check to your answer. Okay. So if, like the last part, if you're, let's say, finding fxy of infinity comma y, but your answer is x by 3, then you are definitely wrong. Okay. So infinity comma y means y should have a value and you should get your answer in terms of y. There should not be any x there. Okay. Okay. Now let's move to the last part. It is asking us, is x and y independent? Okay. So can anyone tell me from a probability point of view, when are two events independent? This is a very basic question. When are two events independent? Or you can give me an example of independent events. Anyone? You all have gone through probability. When are two events independent? Or give me an example of events being independent. Anyone? If you are not aware of that, then you have a very long way to go. Okay. We are talking about a very high level of probability here. Give me two events which are independent. Any two experiments, any two cases. Okay, I'll give you events and at least you can answer me in yes or no. Okay. So I will be tossing a 5 rupee coin and you will be tossing a 2 rupee coin. Are those events independent or dependent?
Independence.
Why? Why are they independent?
Because of the coins are two faces, sir.
Coins are two faces. Okay. But I'm doing the same experiment. I'm tossing the coin. So here it doesn't matter if I'm tossing 5 rupee coin or 2 rupee coin. The result which I will get is only head or tail. It doesn't matter which coin it is. Okay. Now you take a case where I'm tossing a coin. Okay. But you are trying to find a king in a deck of cards. Are these dependent or independent? You are playing a card game and I am tossing a coin. Are these dependent or independent events? You all have definitely done this. You will recollect once I write, you will recollect. You have also done mutually exclusive events. So I don't know if I should even ask what mutually exclusive events are. Okay. So just a word of caution, if you are not aware of these basics, then there's no point of doing the higher things. Okay. The exams you will manage to pass, but these are very, very basic things. Okay. You need to know what independence is, what is mutually exclusive, like understand, not just equations. Okay. Understand what it is. So you don't have to rely on equations to explain. You can explain it at any time. Okay. You need to know this. So when you say you are a communication engineer, you need to know this: independence, mutually exclusive. These are interview questions. People expect you to know this. Okay. So I hope you'll go back and understand what this is. Okay. So in terms of this part which we are dealing with, so if two events have to be independent, then the joint PDF fxy of x comma y should be a product of independent or individual PDFs. So fxy of x comma y, if that is equal to fx of x into fy of y, then we say that the two events or two random variables x and y are independent, right? So we have already found the value of fx of x, which is 1 by 3. We have already found the value of fy of y, which is 1 by 3. The product gives us 1 by 9, and this 1 by 9 is nothing but the value of c, which is nothing but fxy of x comma y. Therefore, since the individual product is equal to that of the combined PDF, we can say that x and y are independent in nature. X and y are independent in nature. Okay, so this is a very important concept. We'll be dealing a lot with this independence, especially independence factor in this module. Okay, are the two events independent or not? Okay, so I suggest that you be very comfortable with independence and also mutually exclusive, because we'll have these coming back again and again in many numericals. Okay, so in terms of CDF and PDF in this module, you will only encounter these kind of questions. Okay, there's not going to be any question is different from the question which I have given you. Okay, you will encounter the same kind of questions. Find the constant, find individual CDFs and PDFs, right? Find the value of independent individual PDF. Are they independent? Are they mutually exclusive? So these are the only options for the questions that you have. Okay, now apart from this, what we are going to do tomorrow in the tomorrow's lecture will be in terms of expectations. That is, we'll be dealing with the mean, the variance, and hence the standard deviation. So this is something which we have already done in single random variables. So if you have to find the mean, which is denoted as mu x, then it is nothing but minus 2 plus infinity x fx of x dx. If you have to find the variance, which is sigma x square, it is nothing but e of x square minus mu x the whole square. You'll get your mu x from here, and e of x square is just an extension of finding the mean value. It is minus 2 plus infinity x square fx of x dx. Right. So this is the case in single random variables, right, where you have one random variable and you find the mean value and the variance value, and once you have the variance value, you can find the standard deviation, right, which is sigma x, which will be square root of sigma x square. Right? So these are the equations when you are dealing with a single random variable. However, in this case, we are dealing with a multiple random variables or bivariate random variables. Therefore, we'll not be interested only in that, in finding the mean. We'll be interested in finding mu xy, which is also written as e of xy, because this mu x can also be written off as e of x, right? So we are interested in finding this mu xy. We are also interested in finding sigma x square y, right? Which will be as an extension e of xy square minus mu xy the whole square. Is that true or not? We still have to find. Whether this is applicable or not, we do not know, right? So we'll have to find it, and then we'll proceed with the numericals to find these expectations. Okay. So we don't have enough time to go ahead with that. So tomorrow's lecture, I'll be starting with the expectation directly and giving you the equation and the variance equations. And this will be followed up with multiple numericals on the same. Okay.